Hello and welcome to our channel. We are Global Traces, otherwise known as Dave, Jess, Isla and Otis. And we are one family traveling the world in Bebe, our MAN HX60 expedition truck. What a week! This week we left the foothills of the Dolomites and got right into the middle of the mountains. After a gorgeous drive up through windy roads, we made it to Misurina, the home of Tre Cime, the iconic and ridiculously busy heart of the Dolomites. Mountains come in all shapes and sizes, but this area of the Dolomites is truly breathtaking, even if they're not the tallest mountains you'll come across. Marmolada, for example, the highest peak in the Dolomites, only reaches 3,343 metres. They have a grandeur that's unique to them. We started the week in a gorgeous free park-up. It was touch and go whether we would get there because of some typically narrow, windy streets, but with a bit of precision driving and some Austin Powers-style manoeuvres, we made it there. Finding a free park-up that also had free water, electric hookup and grey and black waste disposal really was quite the gem. And even better, there was a playground within walking distance, so while Dave transferred some of our Moroccan fuel into Bebe's tank, Isla and I went for a walk and a play. On leaving our park-up, we once again had to navigate the narrow, windy streets back down to the valley floor before making our way to Misurina. We were expecting it to be busy, and given that technically wild camping is not allowed in Italy, we were not sure we'd find somewhere to park. But as we arrived, we saw hundreds of campers parked all along the road. The small camper stop at the bottom of the climb to Tre Cime was full to bursting, and we really feared we'd have to drive on for a lack of space. But perseverance paid off, and we managed to snaffle a Bebe-sized place on the road, where we settled in for the night under the watchful gaze of the mountains.
The following morning, we decided that rather than just drive straight up the mountain in the hope of finding a parking spot, we would instead get the bikes down and cycle up there first to check it out. Just over 7 kilometres and about 700 metres of elevation gain. Thank God for e-bikes is all we can say to that. Now, when the parking at the top is full, they close the road at the bottom to stop more people heading up there and creating a logjam. And it was like that when we set off, with the obligatory photo stop by the Misurina sign. About an hour later, we reached the top on the bikes, stopped for a drink and some strudel. Seriously, the apple strudel in the Dolomites is amazing. Had a wander around and then rolled all the way back down the mountain. It was definitely quicker than going up, especially because we both suffered brake fade on our bikes due to the heavy load placed on brakes on such a steep descent.
Are you pulling and they're coming all the way in? Yeah. They're overheating. Just come off your brakes, just let them cool for a bit.
Not to mention that our brake pads were indeed getting quite close to being due for replacement anyway, after having served us well for a couple of years. And yes, at the bottom of the hill, they were definitely overdue replacement. As we got to the bottom, we saw the sign closing the road was gone, so we quickly lashed the bikes to the back and made a dash for it straight back up the mountain, but this time with Bebe. Now, instead of heaving a bike up the hill under our own and some electric power, it was our 15-ton truck with a 330 horsepower 6-cylinder diesel block.
So the Dolomites in July is interesting. It is undoubtedly ridiculously popular. So we're now trying to get up to parking at one of the refugios. And as you can see, there are people parked all the way along the side of the road. But to go and park at the refugio is at the top of what they class a private road, and they charge you for a motorhome 45 euros. Holy cow.
Oh shit, is that the queue?
Yep. So we have got maybe 400 metres of queue, I guess, which doesn't sound much.
Half the bike ride.
To get to the gate to be, well, voluntarily robbed of a lot of money,
But it'll be worth it.
to go and park at a stunning location if there's space. Look at this switchback, this is awesome!
At this point, we should tell you that driving up the mountain is not a cheap endeavour. Camper vans, and indeed expedition trucks that identify as camper vans, cost €45 to use the private road up to the refuge. But that does allow you to stay there for 12 hours. Apparently, last season it allowed you to stay for 24 hours, but apparently they're trying to reduce tourist pressure by getting more people up there in a 24-hour period. And that does mean if you want to stay overnight, you either need to get up there late in the evening or early in the morning. Or do what we did and accept it's going to cost you €90, 45 on the way up and 45 on the way down. So you do want to plan it carefully to maximise your time up there.
Being up there really is a joy. It's an absolute mountain lover's playground, and I took the chance to get out and shoot both a sunset and a sunrise. Plus we went for a nice family hike halfway round Tre Cime and back. Isla is just at that in-between age now where she's too big to go in the rucksack carrier, but she's not quite strong enough for a long hike yet. So we walked from Refugio Oronzo to Refugio Lavaredo and back.
Well, heading out for some more photography. But now we are in Italy. As you can see behind me, we're in the Dolomites. In fact, we are right in the heart of the Dolomites, the iconic part of the Dolomites, Tre Cime, and it is heaving, absolutely heaving. And I'm off for a little hike, a couple of kilometres to a well-known spot, hopefully for a decent sunset. Well, it's actually not that high, it's about 2,400 metres, but I'm certainly feeling it having cycled up here today as well.
So I found this spot with a great view of Tre Cime, and indeed I was not alone. I met two other photographers up there, both with the same idea, and the sunset definitely delivered. With low clouds coming and going around Tre Cime and the Cadena de Misurina, I flipped between several compositions and shooting in both colour and black and white. For those wanting tech details, I was using a Canon EOS R5 with a TSE tilt shift 24mm lens or an RF 70-200 2.8 in conjunction with HMY filters to balance the exposure of foreground and sky and a Gitzo Traveller tripod to keep the camera steady. And of course, SanDisk Extreme Pro SD cards for storing images. If you check out the description, you'll find our Amazon store that has links to all of these products. And yes, we do earn commission if you buy anything through there. The following morning, I was up early for sunrise, and instead of going to Tre Cime again, I went out for a hike to the Flying Banana Viewpoint. Honestly, it's a ridiculous name, but actually quite apt when you get there. But when I arrived, I wasn't really feeling anything spectacular with the way the light was, so I quickly retraced my steps and faced myself back towards Tre Cime, from the opposite side to where I'd been shooting for sunset the night before. The kit was the same again, and there were clouds moving in and out around the mountains, intermittently hiding and revealing the Oronzo Refugio. Usually in landscapes, I'm looking for strong foreground interest, and I often shoot in vertical format. But with such an expanse of scenery, I shot a lot more horizontals than I normally would. It's actually a good lesson in not prescribing what you're going to shoot or how you're going to shoot, but being flexible to see what the landscape offers you. On the way back to Bebe and the girls, I was stopped in my tracks by the cows grazing around the mountain. With their alpine bells, they're such an evocative sight, and they're really friendly and inquisitive. Some of them are ridiculously brave too, walking and grazing perilously close to the edge. I even watched one deliberately knock off some clods of soil, then kick them off the edge, watching them tumble into the abyss below. Once I'd got back to the truck, we set off for another family wander before packing up and heading back down the hill. We were fortunate that we once again found a spot on the roadside, so we decided to stop again and stay the night. I was keen to shoot sunrise at Lake Misurina, and we hadn't really explored around the lake at all. So the following morning, I was out early once more.
Well, you join me once again on another photo shoot. This time it's a sunrise shoot, and there is so much to photograph here. You could swing your camera around your head and probably get a bundle of cracking pictures. This morning though, I've chosen to come up to Misurina. We were parked up at the top, up at Tre Cime, but we came down last night because the weather wasn't looking amazing. And this morning, the forecast was okay. It's not yet materialised into anything spectacular, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We're still about 20 minutes from sunrise. So I'm sitting right on the shore of Lake Misurina. It's a very well-known composition. You know, anyone that's been here has probably photographed it. And if the light comes, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. It is so flat calm right now. There is barely a ripple on the lake, so a lot of hope for a good reflection. Yeah, just want some nice light. Well, the sun's now up, and officially golden hour is done in about 7 minutes, but I think we've pretty much lost all of the gold. We've got that lovely contrast in the back though, so it's now time to see what this would look like in black and white. So I've switched the camera to monochrome picture style, same settings. See, now that we've got these strong shadows coming in on the mountain, black and white's really going to look good. We haven't got much in the way of colour to be worrying about, so we'll give it a go.
Not long after I got back to the truck, we were just deciding what to do for the day when two friends turned up.
Look who turned up!
Surprise! We're not in the desert anymore.
No, we're not. It's green. It's green behind you. Look at that. Come on in.
That was Richard and Ash from Desk to Glory and Desk to Glory Ash. We'd met them in Morocco a few months back, then travelled a little with them in Western Sahara, and knowing that our general plans were all in the same direction, we figured we might meet them on the road in Europe. But when a Canadian voice said hello through the door, it certainly came as a pleasant surprise. They wanted to head into Misurina for some food, and we were heading for a walk to the lake and then up to the cable car. So we had a nice wander along and a catch up with them, and they were now heading east, much the same direction as us.
Once at the cable car, we had the fun of trying to get two beings that had never been on a chairlift onto a chairlift. Isla was easy, she was so excited, but a 24-kilo dog presents a slightly different challenge. So while I took Isla in the first chair, Dave had to pick up Otis and carry him onto the chairlift for the 10 to 15 minute ride up the mountain. It's fair to say they both did brilliantly, even if Otis wasn't super keen on all the things he could see sliding down past him. Once at the top, we set off on a small hike, which was steep, rocky and a little loose underfoot, but great fun, and it took us to some gorgeous viewpoints. Sadly, we had to curtail the walk because of a few spots of rain that arrived, and we could see some darker clouds on the horizon, and knowing how the weather can change in a heartbeat on a mountain, we decided it was better to descend and be safe than get caught on the hill in a storm. In the end, the weather passed by, but it just meant that since we were down at the lake again, we could hop onto one of the pedallos for a little spin around the lake, while giving Otis a swim to make sure he was properly tired out. The following day, we sat and chatted for a while and decided that while it was expensive, the weather was looking better than the previous 2 days. So we'd stump up another €90 to go spend another night up at Tre Cime. This gave Dave another sunset and sunrise.
It's so beautiful up here at Tre Cime that we decided to come back up. Despite the fact that it's going to be another €90, there's so much here to photograph. The weather was looking good for tonight and tomorrow, and since we hadn't gone far from here, we decided we'd make another trip back up the hill, back up to the base of Tre Cime. You can see behind me.
And so now I'm heading out for a sunset shoot, going to a different location to where I went the other day, kind of the other side, still on the back edge, but on the opposite corner. And then when I get back tonight, sleep, and I'll be up again for sunrise tomorrow. Try and figure out somewhere to go for a sunrise shoot.
More importantly, gave me the chance to go on a hike on my own.
Where are you off to?
To climb Mount Everest.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Really? Here's Mount Everest. And you're not even going up that, you're just going to go round it, aren't you?
I'm going to go round in a circle,
Yeah.
a pretty flat circle. But it feels like I'm going to climb Everest.
And so what was it you just said?
I need to go for a panic poo. Many people, many of my friends will sympathise with me on this. Yes, Otis, you need a panic poo. I need a panic poo. You know, lighten the load, make the walk a little bit, the incredibly difficult walk, a little bit easier. Right, I'm off to climb K2.
How'd you panic poo?
Yeah. It's my turn. I am on a solo hike. No little legs Isla, no Otis, no Dave, which is a real change. It's a big change. But, so, it's my turn today. Dave's come back from shooting sunrise and we've done the swap with Isla. And I am off on a solo hike. Exciting! Yeah, I mean, it's really important. So, Dave and I live, well, we all live in a really small space, right? And it's really important for our mental health and also our relationship, I think, that we have some space and we have some time apart to do our own thing. So it's my turn today. I am off on a hike, 7-kilometre round trip around Tre Cime de Lavaredo, and it should take me about 3 hours, I hope, fingers crossed. So far it is glorious. Look at that, absolutely stunning. So, gonna get cracking. Let's see how I go. So I've done about 2.5k, just under 3k, and I am at the Refugio, which is just behind me. I thought it was a good chance to have a little water break, have a little sit down, because I've gone so far, and buy myself some snacks, because I was very silly and didn't put any snacks in my bag. Naughty. So I bought myself these really nice organic cookies. Apparently they are produced and made in the village down the mountain, and they're actually really nice. So I've got 2 packs of these, and that will definitely keep me going for the remainder of the hike. Off I go. After the hike, as much as we could have stayed at Tre Cime for a very long time exploring and walking and taking pictures, we decided it was time once more to head back down to the valley floor, stay one more night there and shoot another sunrise. Dave? before continuing on our way out of Italy towards Austria to meet up with our good friends Kevin and Maya of Pumba Explores, a couple we originally met 2 years ago on a beach in Denmark. With Bebe due in oil and some filter changes, Dave's birthday coming up, Isla continuing to grow and develop at pace, me starting to find my mountain walking mojo, our next week was already looking jam-packed and exciting. Join us next week to see what Austria has to offer, and a big development milestone for Isla. If you haven't hit those like, share and subscribe buttons yet, here is your cue to do so. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now. Airplane. I mean, if it's not the cars, it's not the people putting the bloody recycling in, it's the freaking aviation.